This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Alan Poupart. And of course, no, you don't have to fix it. I will fix it here for you, sir. That is my mistake. We have the wrong board up, and there we go. Now you are
there
back.
There we go.
Yes, ready to go, ready to rock and roll. How you doing? You feeling good?
I'm doing great. How you doing, buddy?
Very good, my man. I can't complain. I got to give Coach Godsey a lot of credit. He did it in a very kind way of saying, yeah, our quarterback was a dumbass at that moment. He had 5 options. He went to the wrong option there. But I'll give the quarterback credit. He took complete blame for it too, even though most of us didn't want to believe him, and we still want to think that it was the coordinators. But it was, a bad decision. What'd you think of that whole mess?
Well, just first off, just to get the record straight, it was ex-Studesville who said that, not George Godsey. He also said that was the play call. It was just that Brissett had options and didn't exactly pick the right one. And as we discussed after the game on Sunday, there was so many things wrong with that play. It was just frightening, from the fact that Brissett didn't get the pass off quickly enough. He threw a little bit high. Waddle jumped when maybe he shouldn't have. Then Waddle didn't make any kind of move. The sudden step forward and the step back to maybe push the cornerback away from the line of scrimmage, even if ever so slightly, to give himself more of a chance. So it was a complete mess from A to Z. And even though a lot of plays happened afterwards and the Dolphins still had many of chances, it did kind of flip the momentum at a time when the Raiders weren't doing anything.
Oh, yeah. And listen, in Waddle's defense, he probably also knows the play called, and he figures, well, they're not throwing me the ball in this situation. So I bet he was also a little bit, shocked and surprised that it actually went his way and all of that. What'd you think of the Trent Dilfer comments? Because I think Trent Dilfer slipped in, not that he revealed anything. I don't believe Charlie Frye is the play caller. I think he just calls the plays to Tua, but not the play caller. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I think people might be jumping the gun again and trying to mix this whole thing up again. There's only one of those guys calling the play down to Charlie Frye. I'm sure both guys decide on what it is, and then they send it down to Frye. And to me, that's where I think Trent Dilfer just made a mistake in all of that. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling that he saw the comments or what was reported earlier in the season when Brian Flores, or when it was confirmed basically that Charlie Frye is the one who technically relays the play to Tua, which doesn't mean that he's the one calling it. And it's interesting that Bill Belichick and John Gruden both basically suggested it's George Godsey who's the one calling the plays. And again, if you want to think logically, considering the fact that he worked a lot with Tua last year when Robbie Brown, the then QB coach, was on the COVID list, the fact that George Godsey was an OC for the Houston Texans in, 15 and 16, and Studesville has never been an OC in the NFL. And now on top of that, Godsey's the one in the press box and Studesville's on the sideline. You put all those factors together, and the logic says it's Godsey that's the one calling the plays. But we're not getting that confirmation from the Dolphins. Not exactly sure why, because they keep with their company line that everything's a collaboration and all that. And the bottom line, though, I mean, it's still the team. It doesn't matter. It's just about assigning blame for who's making those bad play calls, like a 3rd and 3 shovel pass to Mike Gesicki in the middle of an offensive line that can't block anybody.
Yeah, although I still think that was just about centering the kick. That silly play, which I don't want my tight end running that, especially Gesicki, my most valuable tight end. That makes that part of the call I disagree with, but it almost felt like they were just centering for the kick is what it looked like, right? That's what it came out to be to me. But why use him in all of this?
Can I do a face palm? Can I do a face palm?
Yes, you can.
I wrote a whole column on this, and bear with me here. You're on the road. You're really you're playing to set up a 50-yard field goal attempt just to tie in overtime with 2:57 left, giving the ball back to Derek Carr, basically where your best scenario at that point is to walk out of there with a tie instead of being aggressive and going for the first down when you're already 3 for 4 on fourth down, bad offensive line or not. Frighteningly bad. I mean, and here's the other thing too is I asked Brian Flores on Monday what kind of consideration, if any, was given to the idea of going for the first down, and he basically didn't bat an eye, and it was basically field goal all the way. And I respect Brian Flores as a coach, but I could not disagree more with him on that particular issue.
I agree with you, but it also tells me that they have zero faith in that guy. That's why inside the 5, they kept running the Wildcat, and if not, then Brissett ran it. And that was because they kept calling that play because they don't trust him with the ball in his hands. And I think about that brain fart of an interception he threw a couple of weeks ago, and then I think about what he just did in the end zone. I'm wondering what goes on in practice. I'm wondering what brain farts happen in practice that they're like, yeah, we're not putting the game in this guy's hands. I mean, they didn't pass all game. You're the one that put the revealing stat that the 12-yard pass was like the first like deep pass for them. What was it, early fourth quarter or whatever? And that's because they were trailing by double digits at that point. They had no choice but to pass at that point. All these things indicate to me that they signed a guy they have no faith in whatsoever.
I don't agree with you. Sorry, Big O, could not disagree with you more. I think it's not about Brissett. By the way, Brissett's the one who converted those three fourth downs, one of which was at the goal line after the Wildcat went nowhere on second and third down, and he kept the ball and juked the defender and got himself in the end zone. He completed that gorgeous 27-yard pass to Gesicki on 4th and 20, and he had like a 15-yard pass to Parker on 4th and 8. I think it speaks more to me if there was a lack of confidence there. It speaks more to me. It wasn't about Brissett. It was about the offensive line. I don't buy for a second they didn't have confidence in Brissett. That's why they didn't go for it on 4th and 2. And I also think it's a defensive coach mentality of like, let me get the tie right now and let my defense do the work. When in 2021, it's the great quarterbacks who are going to win those games. Ask the Green Bay Packers how that worked out for them. Sorry, the 49ers, how that worked out for them when they gave the ball back to Aaron Rodgers.
I got you, but if you have no faith in your O-line, why do you keep running the Wildcat and Brissett inside the 5? Then you do have faith in your line. You don't have faith in the quarterback because you took the ball out of his hand to run the ball. So you tell me that in that moment there, the coaching staff is telling me they have more faith in the O-line opening up a hole and getting a touchdown than they do the quarterback throwing for the touchdown.
Oh, and again, I'm not sure I buy that. And for me, if they can flush the Wildcat and I never see it again, it won't be a second too soon. And you saw it went nowhere. Why they call that, I don't know. And I think the fact that they couldn't throw the ball down the field unless basically they had to me, speaks more about the offensive line than it does Jacoby Brissett again. I mean, I think the offensive line is a major, major issue. It wasn't nearly as bad as it was against Buffalo, but part of the reason is because they were dinking and doinking. And then, well, on plays when Brissett didn't have to, like, zigzag in the pocket because Austin Jackson was giving pressure, Liam Eichenberg was giving pressure. So it was a whole mess. But I'm not buying this notion that they don't have confidence in Jacoby Brissett. Sorry, not buying it.
I know you don't get to see, obviously, what went on in practice. Are you expecting any changes on the O-line again this week, or does it look like because this was the best performance of the year so far, it's the same 5 guys?
Yeah, I mean, Brian Flores was asked that question on Monday. He kind of hinted that this was the line they would go forward with. The problem is they don't have a ton of options. From where I sit, if we're going purely on performance, why wouldn't you put in Greg Little at left tackle, see what he can do? Because right now, Austin Jackson wasn't as brutal against the Raiders as he was against the Bills, but it wasn't good at all. But
it was better. It was better. That's the sad part. But it was better.
Like this, yeah. So I don't know why wouldn't you go there? I understand the dynamics of dealing with a first-round pick from a year ago, and if you bench him right now, I mean, it's almost a point of no return. How does the guy come back from that? I get it. So I understand the desire to be patient with him. But that's, to me, that's the only move you can make logically, because I don't know who else you have on the roster that's better than anybody else up front.
Jamie Collins getting released by the Detroit Lions. I was looking at his stats, and I know that they went down last year, where he only had 1 sack in 14 games, but he had 4 in 2018 and 7 in 2019. And his tackles the last 3 years are 104, 81, and 101. Tackles for losses, 13, 10, and 6, so that declined. And then interceptions was 131. He's 31 years old. Is this a guy that you take a chance on if you're the Dolphins?
That's a very good question, because my initial reaction was like, absolutely. I mean, because he's got a history with Brian Flores, including 1 year when Flores was the linebackers coach. So he coached him, but that was the year after Collins made the Pro Bowl, his 1 Pro Bowl. And then what's troubling to me is I spoke to my colleague in Detroit, and he told me a big part of the problem with Collins is he wasn't putting out. And that's highly problematic. I mean, why are you not playing hard? And I mean, I don't get that. So is it a case?
Maybe
he wants out of Detroit. Maybe he sees it's a rebuilding team, and they're not going to be good anytime soon, and he's not going to be there. So I absolutely think it's a situation to investigate, because right now they're not getting it done on defense either. We can keep talking about the O-line, or at least I will. You want to talk about Jacoby Brissett?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
But the defense is not very impressive right now. I mean, they're horrible on third down. They're the worst in the NFL, and they're giving up a hell of a whole lot of yardage every game. So I think absolutely it's a situation that needs to be investigated.
I want to warn you, it could cost your boy Albert Wilson a position on the team. I just want you to know that if they sign, Jamie, I'm just saying that could be the spot that they open up.
But here, hey, listen to this.
I know you and Omar have the Albert Wilson fan club going on right now, and you're still selling memberships. So I'm just saying.
No, but I'm just going to warn you. I'm going to warn you. He was inactive on Sunday, as I suspected. I said it was going to be him or Preston Williams, wound up being both. But I'm going to warn you that Will Fuller is not practicing today. Remember, he was injured in the end zone on that play that easily could have been the DPI. Trainers came out and looked at his leg. So he's not practicing today. So now we're dealing with a situation where he's going to be inactive again Sunday. And if that's the case, that means that another wide receiver is going to be up, and maybe it's your buddy, your friend, Albert Wilson.
Well, let me tell you, and going back to Fuller, if he misses again, he better get prepared to sign another 1-year deal with somebody, because, dude, you're not doing what you need to do to get a multi-year deal. And that's kind of, he had to figure out his body this year and stay healthy. And, that has the personal issue why he missed. I can't blame him for that. But we all know that he has been still nicked up throughout the season. So if he can't play this week, now it could be a precautionary thing, because that's how they've been with everybody all off season, all year. And going back to your point on Preston, I am so glad they kept him inactive. I hope they give him the proper time he needs to heal up. Don't hurry that kid back. You don't need him right now. As long as Parker's healthy, you kind of have the same player anyways. You know what I mean?
I agree. And then Fuller, I mean, he looks completely fit, and then it's maybe just the way he's built and the way he runs, and it's just, again, it's always something. But you're absolutely right. He's not getting a long-term deal with this kind of injury issue. And the other thing about.
Oh, wait a minute. No. We're not.
Okay, I'm back. The most telling thing about Fuller is going to be tomorrow, because 1 day's precautionary. Right. If he's not practicing tomorrow, then he's not playing Sunday, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Defensively, what did you think when you watched the tape again? Anything stand out to you? What'd you think of Jalen Phillips' play? Where's Raekwon Davis? What's the latest with him? When are they getting him back? Give us a little skinny on that.
No, I mean Jalen Phillips, I still don't feel him out there. It's just there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, and he tries hard, but it's not getting a whole lot. What I'm noticing about this team is they're not generating a ton of pressure unless they send DBs in, and they got 3 sacks against the Raiders. They got the one from Christian Wilkins early on, and the 2 from Brandon Jones when he's coming in on a blitz, which is good. But
Right.
it'd be nice if they could generate something from the guys up front. And the one guy who is generating pressure in spurts is Emmanuel Ogbah, though he's not quite getting to the quarterback, and that's causing a problem. What I'm noticing on defense, I don't understand the yo-yoing of playing time with some of the DBs, particularly Nick Needham and Justin Coleman.
Yeah.
To me,
I
right
don't
now,
get
Nick Needham is so much better than Justin Coleman. Do not know why you don't stick him at slot corner and
that.
there.
By miles. In fact, Justin Coleman has been a terrible signing. Let's, I get it. Flo likes him. Flo has history with him. So far he's been terrible. It's been a bad call by Flo to bring that kid on. I'm sorry. I haven't seen a damn thing from Justin Coleman so far. I don't get that one. I don't at all.
Can't argue with you. Well, the book on him is earlier in his career when he's been outside, it's not worked out well for him. When he's been in the slot, he's had some moments. Well, he's been in the slot this year, and it's not worked out. And he was kind of exposed. And to make matters worse, then Brandon Jones, when he was on the field in coverage, had a pretty rough game in coverage. I mean, he did have the 2 sacks, and that's what's going to splash. But he had a rough game in coverage, and Nick Needham had a very good game in coverage. Byron Jones was good in coverage. X gave up a couple of plays against Henry Ruggs, who, to his credit, made some really good catches. So, but I don't understand, again, this yo-yoing of playing time. And Eric Rowe, again, was back up on the snap count. He was down against Buffalo. To me, Eric Rowe should be a major contributor on defense every week. Same with Nick Needham. And then Jalen Phillips, I'm going to keep saying it. There are a couple of plays I saw him drop back in coverage. I don't want Jalen Phillips dropping back in coverage. To me, you got him. And I understand, I get the thing they got him to be like this versatile all-around type of OLB. Well, then you don't spend the 18th pick on a guy like that to me, unless the guy's outrageous at that in college. And Jason Phillips was more of a straight ahead, go get the QB, especially at UM his last year there, or his only year.
Yeah. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to develop a complete linebacker. They feel he has the skill set in order to be a complete linebacker and not a situational type player and make him only a pass rusher. So I understand what they're trying to do right now. And this is where 10-6 in a way has become a burden on you because the expectations were raised. You are thinking of playoffs, whether it's fans or media, and then even the coaching staff, because Flo wants to win all his games too. But you're kind of in a catch-22 of, well, I need to develop players, but I also need to win. And in the development, it's going to set you back. And it's a bitch because you've got to try to develop Jalen Phillips. But on the flip side, you can't develop Noah because you've got the 2 starters on the outside and he's not an inside guy. And then, I saw Barry Jackson's article about the 2 linemen that are doing better in other places. But again, if you keep the 2 veteran linemen, then you're not developing the young guys. And so it's kind of a bitch here where they're caught between trying to develop the future, but trying to win in the now. And so you have to make tough decisions that could be technically setting you back now so you can move forward in the future. It's crazy.
No. And yeah, and it's like you said, it's a catch-22, but from where I sit, do fans, organizations really want to keep building for the future as opposed to win now? I'm not sure. And that's number one. Number two, this is the 3rd year for the Flo Greer tandem. And I understand it was a complete rebuild, but yeah, you were 10-6 last year. And I think, and then also this is where the evaluation becomes so important, where you dumped Elway Minor without giving him much of a chance. To keep and give playing time to guys like Solomon Kindley and Robert Hunt and Austin Jackson.
Your draft picks.
Correct. And who are right now are not looking great. I mean, they're still young and there's still time for them to develop, but right now they're kind of hurting you. And then you basically gave away Eric Flowers to Washington paying like $6 million of his salary to save practically nothing on the cap, again, to clear up that left guard spot for Solomon Kindley. Well, would the Dolphins be better off with Eric Flowers at left guard so far this season? I'd say yes, even though he's not a great left guard, but certainly better than what the Dolphins have had so far this year. So
Yeah.
I understand the balance issue, but to me, it's like try to win games.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to argue that. You didn't answer anything on Raekwon Davis. You know anything about Raekwon
Oh,
Davis?
sorry. No, and it's a big mystery, and I keep looking, trying to see if I spot him, like on the sideline at games. If I spot him, if like sometimes the Dolphins on their social media people will tweet out like community events. I keep trying to see signs of him and how he's walking, if he's got a big brace or something. The truth is, he's eligible to come off IR next week.
Right.
But as far as we know, he could have torn his ACL and be done for the year, or he could be ready to practice next Wednesday. So we don't know. We'll know. We'll have some kind of an idea next Wednesday when, again, this is first day eligible to return to practice. So
this is the
we'll
part
see
that
then.
sucks, that you guys can't go into the locker rooms, man, because you'll get such a better feel. Like I could ask you, if you were in the locker room today, I could ask you. So they got to be feeling like the pressure of this is a must-win week. Like you and I know that this is a must-win week for them. They cannot walk away from this with a loss. That's a beatable team that they've got on the other side of the field this week, and you could probably get some pretty nice stuff off the record from some of these guys on how desperate they want to win this game. You know what I'm saying?
No, not only that, you can get some indications of guys. I mean, I remember like one time, like we're in the media period, and Marquise Gray, do you remember the tight end? He's rolling around. He's got his right foot in a boot. So that's some sort of indication. We could be in the locker room today, and Raekwon Davis could be waltzing by with a big knee brace or something like that, and we'd get.
Or he could be just skipping to his locker room and back. And you're like, he's in great shape. He's ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is NFL 2021, so no, we don't know.
You got
and the other thing that hurts too is this new IRR rule, which is great for everybody. I don't think anybody would argue that. It's bad for us in the media because there's no need to put a guy on IR now that it's. I'm sorry. Now that it's IR is not season ending anymore, and it's unlimited. Guys can come back. Before you put a guy on IR, you pretty much he's done. Or even if they had a maximum of 2 players who could come off IR, then by the time the third guy goes on IR, after 2 have been designated to return, then he's done for the year. Now it's basically up to what the teams want to reveal, and we all know the Dolphins don't want to reveal anything.
Wasn't that other rule was that the 10th, like week 10, you can bring them back or something like that, or some crap like that? Or there was an IR where they can come back like 10th week of the season or something. You had 2 weeks to activate them and all that kind of crap. And wasn't it kind of like that too?
It was IR after, I think it was like 6 or 8 games they had to miss, I believe. Okay. And then they had like a 2-week window, and then you had PUP. If you start on PUP, it's 6 weeks, and then you have the three-week window. But now with the new IR rules, Preston Williams went on IR last year, and we never had a clue the rest of the way what his status was. And then at some point we figured, well, he's not practicing, so I guess he's not coming back, and he never came back.
All right, so we don't get your second report until post game. So I got to ask you, we wrap it up with the prediction. You got them winning this week or losing?
I think the Colts are a dangerous team because they're a lot better, I think, than if you just look at 0-3, they're dangerous, and they've played Seattle, the Rams, and Tennessee. So if there's such a thing as a good 0-3, that's a good 0-3 because they played 3 really good teams. That said, they don't have anybody at wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton is out. I know Quentin Nelson got injured last Sunday. I believe it was a high ankle sprain, which means he ain't playing. So I don't know that the Colts could do a whole lot offensively against the Dolphins. So I think the Dolphins.
And Carson Wentz at this moment doesn't move even faster than Jacoby Brissett with these 2 ankles taped up.
So what I would say is I think the Dolphins win. I think it's very low scoring, and I don't think if anybody thinks it's a slam dunk because the Colts are 0-3, I think that's a mistake.
Oh no, I'm with you. It's not a slam dunk, but I think the Dolphins can win an ugly game this week against the Colts. That I'm with
the ugly factor should be pretty high. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. No doubt about it. All right. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Alan Poupar with our Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report. We shall talk to you again, my man, on post-game on Sunday. Hopefully it'll be a happy post-game show. Appreciate you.
Would be nice. Would be nice. Yeah. Have a great rest of the week, Big O.
You got it, baby. Be good.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.